The Ghoul named Matt Walsh posted one of Destiny's video clips posted by the Thinking Monk, one of the boys, one of the homies. I wish him the best watching his content so that he might be able to get a little more ad revenue. So come on, buddy, let's see what you got.
Which is all that he ever did. He didn't insult, he didn't defame, he died while trying to have a free and civil debate.
Charlie Kirk did insult people.
Which is all that he ever did. He didn't insult, he didn't defame, he didn't shout anyone down, he invited...
Fascism is bad, okay? South Park, but exactly, dude. Yeah, patriotism is good until it turns radical. And then you get into like ethno-states, and then you start getting into extremism, and it's a dangerous game that goes nowhere quick.
Invited everyone to come and speak to him, to prove him wrong. And
that's weird. Why would he refuse to debate actual fucking people that do it for a living, and he'd only show up at colleges to like yell at teenagers and kids? Charlie Kirk was, you know, effective at what he did, but he didn't debate real debaters. Like, there's a reason why Charlie Kirk didn't want to debate Dean Withers. There's a reason why Charlie Kirk... Why are these videos always played at 1.5 speed? Armand played at 1.5 speed. I know Destiny always plays videos at 1.5 speed because that guy's a fucking crackhead and he can like take in information at the speed of sound. I don't think you could humanly watch a Destiny video at 1.5 speed because of how fast he talks. Yes, it was Oxford. Okay, I kept saying Cambridge. I always say Cambridge and I've been wrong. So it was Oxford. Yeah, he got fucking destroyed at Oxford. That was where the real assassination attempt happened. Watching him flounder so hard against young college kids in Oxford was like devastating. Like I lost so much respect for Charlie Kirk as a debater on that moment. Like he knew nothing about what he was fucking talking about. He only had rhetoric. He went in there and got fucking dog walked by a bunch of young men. I think a couple young women, and I think one teacher was there or something like that. I thought it was Cambridge, so I'm so glad someone corrected me. Oh, thank God. Yeah, that was a fucking terrible showing on his part.
For that, they killed him. I have to tell you that as a fellow conservative in the public eye, you know, I always worried that it would come to this. That eventually...
Didn't you, like, help ratchet up the temperature, especially around trans rights, where you were talking about wholeheartedly that you were going to erase the trans identity from America? Like, even though they only make up a small minority of our people, like, can't you see... The woman debating with him interviewed about her approach. You should react to her. She's amazing. I don't remember her name, but it's, brother. I bet you she said something nice about Charlie Kirk after, you know, he had his unfortunate loss of life by an unhinged psychopath.
Eventually, they would start killing us. But I never thought it would be Charlie. He was...
So they always... So it is the thing, right? Blame the Dems.
Let me link you. It's really a positive video. I don't know if links work in here. I don't know how to like let links happen. The FBI agreed in the documentary Trudell by Heather Rage in 2005. They quote an FBI memo early on. He's extremely eloquent, therefore extremely dangerous. They compiled a 1,700 page dossier on him. Oh, what? What the fuck?
I can only be honest with you in this moment and tell you that I am sad, I am heartbroken, and I am full of rage. If you want a kumbaya message of unity and togetherness, you will not get it from me.
Cool. Another huge content creator. I follow the liberal redneck. Fuck, it disappeared. Dislike. I think it's weird that like sometimes the messages don't actually appear in here. Very strange. Dislike and despicable.
Over the past 24 hours, I've seen some in the media, some of the very same people who intentionally stoked murderous hatred against people like Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk specifically.
In the media. Weird. Okay? Who in the media? Do you have any examples of who's like in the media or on the left perpetuating circles of hate or cycles of hate? Where is this happening? Who's doing it? Because like, if you want to call them out and you want to show them off, I will happily agree with you that these people are disgusting. Oh, I was wrong. It was Cambridge. Shamefaced. Fuck! Things that happen in the U.S. rarely have an impact in my life, so I rarely care, but I feel sad now. That was really sad day for Americans, where I'm certain that this further expands the division. Yeah, I fully agree. Oh, damn, so I was right. Damn it. Yes. I mean, I left America a week ago. I hit Canada last Wednesday. You know what I mean? So like, and if things work out well here and, you know, the government isn't too unkind and we all know what, yes, exactly. So maybe I shouldn't even care about, American politics anymore. I just know what happens in America affects the world, and I have so many loved ones and family in America. You know, and I plan on eventually, maybe one day going back if things don't work out the way that the government here might like me. You know what I mean? You know, but yeah, I mean, none of this directly affects me anymore. You know, my parents are not going to go out there and start waging war for you know, the Republicans. They might say some unhinged shit in their house, but I don't see them marching in the streets with their rifles. Mainly because the wind might be able to take out my father. Actually, I shouldn't say that. My father's probably stronger than I am. That motherfucker, that old working dog, he don't give a fuck.
Now saying that we need to turn down the temperature and start having conversations. Well, Charlie tried to have conversations with you on the left, and you killed him for it.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying that Charlie Kirk wanted to have conversations. Let me get this straight. If you believe that Charlie Kirk wanted to have conversations to push his ideas to the most amount of people, right? If you believe that, then why are you using his death as like a justification to advocate for violence? Wouldn't that go against the wishes that he had? Shouldn't we turn down the temperature to honor his memory? A man who used conversations to change opinions? Like, I mean, Martin Luther King wanted to have conversations and peaceful protests and stuff like that, and he was shot and killed. You know what I mean? That didn't stop the peaceful movement from happening. So, like, why are you using Charlie Kirk's death as a vector to, like, create more death? Shouldn't we do the opposite of that? Like, if you believe in the ideology and you believe in what Charlie Kirk was doing, shouldn't you defend that? Shouldn't you champion the thing that he was putting out into the world? Like, where's the consistency here? Do you want to honor Charlie Kirk's memory? Like, you can get together with numerous Democrats that will happily call out the violence. Again, we don't know who the shooter was. We don't know what his motivation was. We don't know what his political ideology was. We don't know what reason he pulled the trigger for. Why are we pretending that we do?
You're killing us in our churches. You tried to kill our president. You killed one of our greatest advocates in Charlie Kirk. You have been openly cheering.
Didn't, like, again, the person that tried to kill the president was a registered fucking Republican, and Donald Trump is in office, and we've heard nothing more about it. His FBI hasn't released any fucking substantial information. We still don't have any information about it that is proper. Like, why? They don't know anything yet about the person who did this, so why are you saying that? Exactly. We don't know. They're insinuating based off of whatever bullshit they want, and they're attempting to raise up the rhetoric. Like, if you wanted to be a conspiracy theorist, if you really wanted to be, you'd be like, maybe the right killed Charlie Kirk so that we would have to avoid going to war with Russia. So instead of our country, sorry, talking to the other guy on the screen, not you. Oh, well, they were just saying that, like, so I rarely feel sad, but yeah, they're not pointing fingers there. But like, okay, so like, I forgot what I was going to say. Let's just get back
celebrating
into
and encouraging and committing political violence for years. Antifa, BLM, well-funded, highly orchestrated, widespread movements.
Antifa was well-funded and highly orchestrated. BLM was well-funded and highly orchestrated. I mean, maybe like...
Hold on. So let me remember this. Biden was running for office, and when BLM started getting violent, Both Biden and Kamala Harris came out and called out the violence of BLM. They called out the violence of Antifa. They did it on the debate stage, by the way. So what are we doing? We can openly admit that there are members of the left that are violent and that those people are bad. Inside job, Epstein diversion, exactly. Or they could be trying to stop the fact that, you know, we saw that, what would they send, like 19 drones? All I saw so far is he was 22, exactly. We also saw that, like, didn't like Russia, like a couple days ago, send like 19 drones into Poland, a NATO ally. Like, bro, if you really wanted to get fucking, like, you know, conspiratorial, like, maybe they sacrificed Charlie Kirk on the altar. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not that guy. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I think that there was just a really mentally unwell person, regardless of his political ideology. And if he's on the left, I'll call out his bullshit. If he's on the right, I'll call out his bullshit. There's a probably sick individual that has been radicalized in some form of direction and then did whatever the fuck he thought he could. And that's not okay. More people need to call that out. Matt Walsh needs to grow a fucking pair of balls and be a goddamn man and stand by his virtues that he says that he believes in.
Like the 6 people that ran that org and stole all the money. It's always a projection too. Like the well-funded and highly orchestrated movement is on your side, guys.
And it's too late to turn the temperature down. This is not a time to hold hands. It's a time for justice. This is a time for...
I think the link got censored, but look for Cambridge debate coach reveals how she humiliated Charlie Kirk. It will help you release the rage and feel better about humanity. All right, I'll look at. Oh, here, I'll look at it now. And then we'll watch it after the video. After this one, I'll try not to talk as much. Oh, okay. It must be the feminist woman, right? I remember seeing her on TikTok a few times. All right.
Good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail. For the sake of our...
Holy fuck. All right, at least he's not doing like the thing that Asmongold did where he like kind of waffled and like said like 2 words that were kind of bad and like, you know, violence coded. This guy just said it out loud. I've said it before in my music reacts on a few songs. I'll say it again. One of the things that I really liked about Jordan Peterson was his coverage of the Nazi Germany while he was still like in the schools and stuff, and he would give lectures on it. Oh, okay. So debate coach reveals how she fucking goddamn it. Ah! Dangerous shitty times, exactly. We'll just do this. Can I copy that? Can I just click? Oh, cool, that works. Control C. It only copied 1 word? What? What the fuck, man? Debate. How I crushed. Okay.
Tilly Miruha.
Whoa, that's a long video. Okay, we'll get into it. I don't know. That's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. 56 minutes. I already have like 3 videos I got to get through.
our country and for our families and our children and for Charlie.
I'm sorry. It's hard to feel bad for any of them now. Like there's a non-zero chance, especially after Charlie Kirk dies, right? Where now you've got people that are rolling around looking to avenge their fallen conservative hero. Like imagine you're listening to this.
Families.
Like if there was any amount of moral character, this is also why these people are all a-religious, or if they are religious, they should go to like super hell because Jesus Christ, these guys are just disgusting, right? But imagine, like the thing you should say after an event like this is like, I know that tensions are high. I know that we all feel, like we want to avenge our friend and everything, but like now is when cooler heads need to prevail. There's never been a time And for these guys who are obsessed with archetypes, for these guys who are obsessed with stories and religiosity and you know, Greek mythos and everything else, like there's never been a time where it was like the hero responded in rage and anger and prevailed. It's like not generally. Like usually you have to like chill and, you know, you're supposed to be a bigger person, right?
That's true. When are the heroes ever the people that participate in? You know what I mean? What, like, if you want to be the good guy in history, revenge can't be the thing that you're, like, you know, participating in. That's not what good leaders do. That's not what good people do. I want to go back to chess bong in the 40s in the backyard. Exactly, dude. Bro. Virtual hugs all around. Nikki! What's up, beautiful? We're out here trying to stem violence today, but I don't think we're going to have any effect. Okay, the casing had video game references on them, anti-fascist stuff on them.
Even assuming this is, again, we don't even know this is a left-wing shooter. We don't know yet.
I'm doing a timing belt on my thing to do, but Friday night I have plenty of beer. So this is the perfect soundtrack for this task. You're doing a timing belt? What the fuck? Is it a timing belt or a timing chain? Oh my god, dude. Unless you're Iron Man. Exactly. Hold on, dude. A timing... Look, I hate timing belts. Give me a timing chain any day of the week. That's a European car, right? I've done one timing belt with another one of my techs. Holy fuck that. Belts are way hard. Dude, I can't even figure out how to put a belt on. The belt doesn't annoy me much. Fuck. What the... Are you Superman? Holy shit. Oh my god, dude. Me and my buddy Matt Boggs. Yeah, anyway, me and my buddy, when listening to that, me and my buddy, I'm gonna censor that out when I make this a video. Anyway, me and my buddy, when we're doing our stuff, we did we rebuilt the transmission in my vehicle, for my 1994 Ford Econoline that I drove up here. And man, it has a hard time catching reverse. I feel like I fucked something up. I have to put it into reverse like twice. And I couldn't find the proper rear housing for the transmission. So I had to get one for a different year, make, and model. And something just doesn't feel right on it. It's not leaking. All that's left now is to replace the transcooler line, but just something doesn't feel right. Like I just got a fear in the back of my head that I fucked something up. You know what I mean? And then I still have to install 2 more solar panels on the roof, because it's having a hard time keeping up with just 2. Like I want to put all my computer stuff in there, or I wanted to before I came here. I planned on living in there full time, but Jesus, doing a timing belt on a Porsche, fuck that. I'm sorry, dude. You're a gangster. Much love, much respect. All right.
Yet the people that hated, and nobody on these online spaces or nobody in these alternative media spaces knows, unless you spend a lot of time online, the number one group that hated Charlie Kirk, at least in the past, was the Griper movement, was Fuentes' fans.
Yep.
Now, we don't know if it was a Griper that shot him. As far as I'm aware, I don't think any Nick Fuentes fan or Griper has ever been involved in any kind of terrorist or violent event. That's not what I've never heard of that before. But like, we have no idea who the shooter, we don't know anything about this guy at all.
Hey, it's always good when me and Papa Destiny have a similar opinion. And I haven't even listened to his shit yet, so at least I know I'm kind of aiming in the right direction. Tip: if you need to edit something, do a loud clap. That way you can spot it easy in the audio timeline to find it and not forget. Holy fuck, that's super genius, bro. Because like I'm not gonna lie, I've been trying to stream for about 6 hours a day, and then like my girlfriend slash manager, because I asked if she could, because I just want second opinions while I'm doing stuff, and so she'll give me ideas, and you know, but she'll never like impose anything. It's crazy. Like, I'll be like, baby, I want you to, because I have a video that I did called Kate Nash video that I'm not sure I'm comfortable uploading because I know I said some crazy shit in that video, and I wanted her to do some like fact checking, and I'm not even gonna lie, it caused a little tension in the house for a minute, because I got to remember that, like, just because I've been tuned into the culture war for so long, and I have my individual problems with certain levels of feminism. Oh my god, I stumbled to you on live. Fuck yeah, win. Hello from Australia. What's going on? Aren't you what's going on, my dear? What's going on, my dear? I'm sorry, it's gonna be more of a political day. Just a heads up. I know that a lot of people don't know that I'm gonna I want to do music reacts, trust me. But here, I'll just show you right here. Yes, it's that Kate Nash video we did, Lou. It's that same one. I have it sitting here on my desktop. I'm just scared to upload it. And anyway, I got to start learning that most people that are going to watch my content don't understand the history of where I come from. So maybe I should just do some long ass video where I point out my political ideology and where I'm at and why I got there. So this way people can understand when I'm talking about things. Like when I'm talking about the far left feminism stuff, that doesn't mean I'm talking about feminist. Like, I am a feminist myself, you know what I mean? It means I'm talking about the radical feminists that, you know, say some crazy shit. I didn't hate Charlie. He was an important opportunist. I first heard, whoa, hey, oh, damn, homie, you didn't have to do all that, dude. I don't hate Charlie. I first heard of him when he commented NATO expansion. He said that Finland was neutral in WTO2. After that was much like Russia. Like, what? Exactly, dude. Sorry. Look, I'm gonna get that Kate Nash one up. I just gotta look. I know I gotta go through and watch it myself and see what things I said and stuff like that. Because I remember seeing some people pop up in chat and go, "Bro," you know what I mean. So I gotta be a little more careful with the things I say, because like a lot of people don't understand my background and where I'm coming from. And thank you so much for that donation, buddy. You're fucking glorious. I don't know what to say, bro. My son has a Dodge Transit kind of box van thing that he almost finished the conversion with solar and everything, but the transmission is messing up and he's going to be in the Middle East now. Lou, I know you. Oh shit. Look, dude, I have a sordid past, okay? I left the left for a while because I felt like I was ousted from the left and I was politically aimless, but I'd never jump into the arms of the Republicans. You know, I'm a classical liberal that I've listened to people like Bill Maher, Sam Harris my whole life. You know, and the person that convinced me to be an atheist was the Amazing Atheist here on YouTube. He did a really good video and takedown of a song that said why I hate religion but love Jesus or something like that by Beat Basketball or some douchebag that's trying to separate religion and fucking Jesus. But even he was a far left person that's like completely violent. I saw he did a video today and I was hesitant to react to it. I almost did. But like I never fell into any of like the cycles. Like when MAGA started, or when Gamergate started going really MAGA and started turning super far right, I didn't fall into that. And then like, even though my political heroes were like at one time Amazing Atheist, I didn't fall into his worldview. And then at one point it was like people like Jordan Peterson. But then when he started going right, I didn't fall into his view. And right now one of them is Destiny. But I don't think that I hope that if he starts doing some crazy shit, that I won't fall in line with him. Hey, I must have watched more than 40 hours of your stuff, so a little token to pay for your time entertaining me is what's worth it. Hey, man, I give you much love and much respect. And if I ever say something that's offensive to you, I apologize in advance. My intent is never to alienate anybody. I love conversation. I love debate. And I just like to be as factual as I possibly can. But you know what, man? I owe you the world, brother. Like, you guys are the reason why I do this. Like, you know, I have a blast doing it. So anyway, let me get back in the video. We've kind of been sitting here running our mouth a little too long.
Another group of people that really don't like Trump or Trump associates are never Trumpers, right?
Mm-hmm. Many of you have seen all the myriad posts and videos from leftist demons celebrating Charlie's death. I know we want to tell ourselves that these are fringe voices.
They fucking are fringe voices. Who in the main party or anyone that's voted into office or has any position of power, American Atheist Hour on public radio is when I was in high school for me. This is awesome. I love Will stuff, even though I don't always agree 100%. Aw, Nikki, I'm sorry. And no one has ever said anything that has offended me. One take offense is not... Oh, man. Oh, man. Demons? Yeah, that's... Matt Walsh has been unhinged for a long time.
But they aren't. I know we want to tell ourselves that these are fringe voices. But they aren't. There's a very large group of people out there who want us dead. Even in Congress, they tried to have a moment of silence after Charlie's passing, but Democrats jeered and heckled. In Congress. This is who they are. Not on the fringes, in the main.
What did that look like? Disgraceful. Democrats yelling in Congress for a moment of silence.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery.
Did he say
please,
president?
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
This is also cringe as fuck. Why the fuck are we? He was a...
Hold on, dude. Okay, hold on. We don't have to put a prayer for Charlie Kirk. This is the state thing. Like, this is a government situation. There should be no prayer on that floor whatsoever. It doesn't matter what the situation was. Separation of church and state. This spits in the founding of our country. But oh, guess what? It's okay not to agree and still love someone. Yeah, I say some unhinged shit. I ain't gonna lie. I try to avoid those topics these days.
Political figure, like not like an elected lawmaker. Again, we didn't do any of this for the Minnesota state senator that got literally assassinated. But okay.
Doesn't sound like they're interrupting.
Wait, was that not... Wait, did he gavel to stop a disruption?
Hold on. So what the fuck is Matt Walsh saying? No one did anything. No one was speaking out. No one was saying, fuck that. That's his justification for raising up political violence and ratcheting up the temperature? People praying and not talking, like... What?
That I couldn't hear? Or was that they did the whole moment of silence?
There's no jeering.
Okay.
So there's a reason why Matt Walsh didn't show the fucking video. And people, his audience would have never known that. Oh God, I can feel my blood pressure raising. Matt Walsh has an incentive to stoke outrage. The more people that are outraged are the more people that are going to come to him for his messaging.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise?
I'm aware that the video title says after the moment of silence. I'm aware of that. His claim was that they interrupted
Congress, they tried to have a moment of silence after Charlie's passing, but Democrats jeered and heckled.
He's saying that they...
Where the fuck was the jeer and heckle? Excuse me? My best friend and I have a lot of things we don't agree on. Whoa, I dropped a thing. I understand, Nikki.
They prevented the moment of silence. I'm responding to his claim, not the fucking title of the video. Holy shit. The number one people who hated Kirk were Fuentes types? Yes. You either know or you don't know. If you've been involved in online spaces, there's a long feud between gripers and Charlie Kirk.
So, for those that don't know, Nick Fuentes is a straight-up neo-Nazi. Self-proclaimed neo-Nazi. When Kanye West was running for president, Nick Fuentes was writing some of his platform directly from Hitler. He says it himself. Like his Hitler, can't remember what the word he used, but like Nick Fuentes is literally one of these people. And Nick Fuentes has been very critical of the Trump administration because he thought Trump made all these promises to people just like him, and they were gonna like switch the world to like divine command theory, kick out all the brown people. We were gonna cut off all immigration. The type of people. So Nick Fuentes is very angry with Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk. No matter what you think about him, he wasn't part of that movement. Charlie Kirk was more in line with Donald Trump than, other stuff like that. Now, he had some morally reprehensible views, but again, you just defeat that in the marketplace of ideas. You don't need to stoke violence. You don't need to go out and, if I was willing to say it's not okay to punch a Nazi, Make America Great is borrowed from Hitler, who used the same language in his propaganda. Exactly. But Nick Fuentes is far righter, like along with Myron Gaines, along with Andrew Tate, along with Sam Hyde. These are like really dangerous people with a lot of dangerous ideologies. And the reason why I'm so critical of Asmongold is because now he's like starting to like parrot some of the same talking points, where Asmongold will make statements like America needs to be reserved for those that are of white ethnicity, and only white Europeans should be able to immigrate to our country. And it's like, you understand that like white Europeans want nothing to do with America right now, right? You understand that, right? Like there's a large majority of Europeans that hate America, and they do so for a decent reason. Like I'm in Canada now. A majority of Canadians want nothing to do with America either. This whole like idea of like basing everything off of the skin color is not okay. So a lot of people within Nick Fuentes' orbit, and I'm not saying Nick Fuentes is responsible for this, I'm saying he's got some culpability, as we all do. Is it weird that some of the comments that are shown on your screen and chat not being shown on the YouTube? I don't know why that is. I think that like so like YouTube does its own version of content moderation. When I upload a YouTube video, I go in and turn that off, but I don't know how to turn that off in the live stream. I guess after today's video, while I'm uploading videos and like cutting and cropping stuff, all right, this fucking chain annoys me now. Like, why the fuck do these bolts have to be hidden like that? I feel them, I don't see them, and I can't reach them with a wrench. Look, you're doing a hard-ass job. Like, dude, European. I don't hate America. I'm scared of the current regime by a self-declared wannabe dictator. I agree fully. Yeah, 100%. I got to find out how to turn off content moderation through YouTube. I don't know why it does it, because at least through Streamlabs, it'll show it all. Because Streamlabs like will read it before it gets to YouTube, like momentarily, because I'm doing everything through Streamlabs. Spain just slapped 100% tax on foreigners buying homes. Whoa, that makes sense, because a lot of people are probably fleeing America. There are a lot of people fleeing America right now. Hell, I'm one of them. Now, I moved up here because I got a buddy and a job offer, but chain, belt, whatever. Well, look, I think you actually have a belt if it's a Porsche, because I know European cars, I think they use a actual belt for their timing belt. They use a timing belt instead of a timing chain. American cars typically use timing chains. I could totally be wrong, though.
They used to like troll him at events and shit. Kirk hated fucking Nick Fuentes. He hated him so much. It wouldn't surprise me if there's never been a mention, if Kirk has never even said his fucking name in a video over the past year. I don't know if he has kept up. Maybe they've chilled. Fuentes kind of like nosedived his career after the whole Kanye stuff. Although he's getting more popular again. He kind of comes and goes in waves, like a mushroom trip. Why is that? I don't know where their feud began. I'm not sure. I just know that they got like, I know that they used to troll the fuck out of the Turning Point USA events, the Groypers did. Maybe just because it was another movement that they could kind of like show up and troll. I don't know where the feud starts or why, though.
As a true culture warrior, it must be said that the evil gloating of his enemies are accolades in their own right. May we all be so successful and productive that our enemies celebrate when we die. May we all be so devastating to the leftist project that they long for our demise.
Leftist project? What are you fucking talking about? Oh my god, dude. You understand that liberals have been part of America for a very long time. You understand that people like Abraham Lincoln were liberals, the people that founded the Republican Party, right? Like, you understand that liberals have been fighting for civil rights, human rights, and so many different issues for the past 200 years. We have a liberal democracy. That is what America was essentially founded on. A separation from church and state, the idea that the Enlightenment era is like the cornerstone of our country. Like, you hear people talk about the West, and they talk about, the West is primarily based off of Judeo-Christian values. Like, shut the fuck up. It's based off of Enlightenment thinking. Like, thinkers and talkers like Voltaire. Like, many of the founders of this country were like literal deists. Like, they were religious individuals, but they thought that their religion had no point to being a pillar in our community, because they knew what it was like to be repressed by a monarchy and the church. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What great fucking leftist ideology is coming in? You have a handful of people in our country, about 10% of them are socialist, and another like 8% of them are communist. Now, you can start having an overlap between communists and socialism because they have similar veins, but like the same way that you can have overlap between liberals and fucking neoliberals and other stuff. What a fucking redundant take. You have to stop othering the other side. The reason why America became a powerhouse after World War II was not because of Judeo-Christian values. I had a belt conversion in my 400 CI CBC El Camino back in the day. The way I could rev it up slightly higher, I don't know if it's worth the money, but why not? Well, if you got an El Camino, that motherfucker's got a purr, dog. That thing's got to tickle the balls when you start it. Gangsta! But like, America was not just solely founded, America didn't become the powerhouse that it did because of Judeo-Christian values. We did it through innovation, and our industry, like the way that we commodified our industry ahead of other people. We did it through technological advancements, innovation, and freeing up the marketplace for more and more people to do certain particular jobs. And we did it by having a dynamic workforce that could specialize in certain areas. We did it by leading through like research and creating things like the internet and like creating the Industrial Revolution. Like, these are the things that propelled America to the forefront of being where it is as a global power today. It has nothing to do with Judeo-Christian values or any of that bullshit. It has to do with the fact that we used capitalism in a way to, like, to some degree, affect a larger scale of people, and then through that we created soft power that helped it lift up other countries. And by doing so, it gave us some kind of in those environments or areas to where we even started being able to put embassies and stuff around the globe. Like, America led the way through innovation, through the era of Enlightenment thinking. It has nothing to do with that bullshit about Judeo-Christian bullshit. And the fact that we can sit here and sit on some high horse and say that, like, if you're a Muslim, you can't come to this country because your views are not applicable to Judeo-Christian values is fucking rancid and wrong. Like, some of the smartest people now are coming from India and China and Japan and areas like this where they have a higher degree of schooling, and some of their citizens are far more intelligent than natural born American citizens, because for some reason in America, despite the fact that we understand that like education is incredibly important, we have some of the lowest testing scores out of the modern countries in the world, because we're too busy hyper focused on becoming millionaires or TikTok stars or YouTube people to like actually pick up a book and fucking read something. So when people come to this country on like an H-1B visa to come over here and work in an area that like they wouldn't have access to, only helps like further grow our economy, because now we're actually pulling in some of the smartest and creative minds around the world. But we don't do that. Like, you guys want to stop that. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro.
May we all be so successful and productive that our enemies celebrate when we die. May we all be so devastating to the leftist project that they long for our demise. May we all fight so hard and so effectively that they have no choice but to try to kill us. May our lives be a problem for these people, and our deaths a relief.
Nice, man. Good fucking cooling, dude. I love it. I love that you get paid millions of dollars to spread hatred on the internet, and like you have a fucking ivory little mansion that you live in. You could retire any day and never suffer any of the consequences for the bullshit that you say. I'm Chinese, but my parents had a very low bar. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, dude. Wait, so Lou, if this is too personal of a question, Do you fuck with League of Legends then? Because like I know League of Legends is huge in China, isn't it? I think that's where a majority of the money now comes from. Like, come on, bro, you got to be playing League then. Come on, homie. Actually, that might be a racist stigma. I apologize if it came off that way. I just, you know, I like the culture out there to some degree. You know, anyone that hangs out with my League of Legends, those are my homies, bro. Also, I know League of Legends is also really big in Korea. It's a bummer that League of Legends never blew up in Japan because my favorite team was a Japanese team, and the mid laner would always use Heimerdinger. I can't remember what they were fucking called anymore. But those were my boys. I loved them. Yeah, but I don't game. Bummer. Smart, though.
Let them dance on my grave as they dance on Charlie's. Then I will know that I did my duty. Our opponents should be happy when we leave the ring. If they aren't, then we didn't punch hard enough.
Oh, great. Cool.
Charlie punched harder than anyone. He did it with a smile. He did it through speech and debate. He did it non-violently. But he was a devastating fighter all the same. And
he was a fucking coward that wouldn't debate actual people. He got excited about it. I don't think it came off racist. I wish I can game visually impaired. I understand that. I'm getting old enough to where like even keeping up in like silver is getting hard. It's getting a little silly there. Like holy shit.
opponents are overjoyed because they think they've gotten rid of him. But they're wrong.
What should the messaging on the left be moving forward if the right are going to be retarded? I think every single person on the left should just say over and over again, has Trump called for both sides to turn it down? And that's it. Literally, that's it. I look to the president for guidance on my rhetoric, and I'm looking to see if the president has said that everybody needs to pull back.
Nice. I was on messaging before it became the messaging. I am caught up. Let's go.
Political, nonpartisan way.
Gravely misjudged the situation. The only thing more powerful than a living fighter is a martyred one. In life,
Right, so I don't know many people on the left right now that are like happy that Charlie Kirk is dead because they now know it's going to be way harder to have these conversations. So I don't know what the fuck this guy is talking about. Every debate I'm going to go into, if I get into any, are going to be like, well, your side just killed Charlie Kirk. And it's like, fuck. Another fucking bludgeon that they can use to like not talk about the issue at hand. Like they use, like I've seen Charlie Kirk do it. You go up and question him on something, he'll be like, what is a woman? It's like, bro, what does that have to do with this fucking question? It's because he doesn't want to answer the question. He wants to deflect, and he can use that as a vector to do so. They're going to use this as a vector to fucking escape any accountability or hold any argument to boot. I'm already looking forward to the Wix debates that are about to come up over this, because I guarantee you he's going to put them on there. I'm going to request to be a part of it, but it's a big enough issue that enough like bigger up people are going to do it, you know. So it's going to be a bummer. I probably won't get in, but I'll definitely be there to watch it.
Charlie motivated and rallied us to put on the armor of God and fight for what we believe in. In death, he motivates and rallies us all the more.
I don't know.
So from what I heard, according to a few handful of sources, though, the guy has been apprehended. I believe he turned himself in. We still don't know why he did it, who he is, or any of that jazz. So it's still kind of in the air right now. But yeah, more information will probably come out soon. And depending on how that information goes, a lot of things might happen. Sweet Laken Riley. Oh my God, dude, I've heard Laken Riley so much. You'll be like, oh my God, 12 million illegal immigrants crossed the border. It's like, no, 12 million people showed up at the border. Some of them were turned away. Some of them claimed asylum. Some people were arrested. But people don't fucking ever look into anything. They just stick to one thing they heard and then they sit on it. There's a reason why Destiny's earned my respect as a content creator. Because here Matt Walsh made a claim, Destiny looked to verify the claim. Like that should have been in Matt Walsh's video. If Matt Walsh is making a claim like that and he has that kind of staff and power and he can't even fucking pull up the video to prove what he's saying, you should ask why. Why is it they're not doing that? Oh, family members who saw the pics and footage turned him in. Damn, your own family turned on you? That's crazy. But yeah. I mean, if this man is guilty, he should be held to the full extent of the law. Hopefully that law is not the death penalty, because I don't really like the death penalty. But yeah, what this guy did was, if he's the one that did it, morally reprehensible, disgusting, and should be shouted down from the rooftops. And you don't do that for any clout. Tears were catching me up. I feel for all those poor people who had to witness it. I can't stand hearing about the shootings over there. It is so terrible. Exactly, dude. It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you're on. What happened was a travesty. And the poor young children that were there, like, well, not children, a lot of them were college kids. So they're a little older. It's not like they were like 14 and shit. But I mean, Charlie Kirk's wife and kid were in the audience. I mean, this was, broadcasted to the world. There is only one downside to what happened. If it works out that way. If it's possible that, not downside, I mean upside. There's only one upside to potentially what happened. Maybe people will start being a little more cautious with the things they say in public. I don't know if that's going to do anything. Yeah, still young, very young. Like I said, what happened? Terrible. It is the government of Utah had gas already said death penalty. Yeah, well, that's not good. The world when it's eye for an eye, man, that's dangerous. Oh my God, his wife and kids, geez, that's so sad. So bad, fuck. Yeah, they were in the audience. I had 2 kids that were there. I think one, I don't know the ages, but one of them looks to still be like a baby, like, probably 1 to 2 years old, maybe 3. I doubt it because she was still it looked like she was still in a diaper. I think the other one's like 4 or 5, very small. I can't really tell, but it's fucking gross. Those kids are going to be haunted for their whole life, and they're going to be without a father. Doesn't matter who you are. That's bad news. Bad news, man. Think about what kind of turmoil that can cause in your life, or trauma that's going to be everlasting. Those 2 girls are going to grow up. I think they're girls. I don't know. I know one's a girl. His children are going to grow up to be fucked over by this shit. I'm going to head out and try to get to the scrapyard before they close because I didn't do it yesterday because my daughter was visiting. Well, I hope you had a good time with your daughter, Nikki. Have yourself a wonderful day. You're beautiful. I love you and I miss you. Be safe, okay? The world's getting crazy out there. Be careful.
Maybe historically, maybe there are examples that would make me wrong here, but the martyr stuff feels like a truism that isn't actually true. I think that like martyrs suck. I think that especially for people, maybe like if you're at the end of your life, martyrs can be good, but I feel like especially if you're young and you can do stuff, I feel like being martyred is not good for your movement. Like, yeah, people will be hype for a week or so, but it doesn't drive long-term change or long-term antagonism. It just sucks, especially if you were a highly effective leader. Now, if you have like an irrelevant person who's a martyr, then that's whatever. But I don't think leaders or movements getting killed are generally like good for the movement.
I know. How much did Aaron Bushnell's emulsion do for the movement? I don't think it did much. I don't know, man. Martyrs can be very effective, though. I think Destiny just might be wrong here, but he could be right. I mean, it does feel like a truism. Like, I don't think that we have a lot of like evidence in recent years that it works, but I don't really think it's going to be a martyr. Maybe I think it's just going to be. I mean, guess it is a martyr, but I think it's going to be more of like a justification to say that they knew all along that it was happening. They're just going to use this as a falsified justification to perpetuate violence, and they're going to be okay with that, and they're not going to give a shit. And then when it happens to them, they're going to cry about it. But when they do it to other people, they're going to laugh about it.
Generally.
I want to be very clear that we will not back down after this. We will not shrink away or go into hiding.
What has Trump said about this? Trump blamed the radical left Democrats for the rhetoric and everything, which is just unbelievable, without even knowing who the shooter is. What about Jesus? Jesus doesn't count as a martyr. He literally came back to life.
Many of us, conservatives on the public stage, have seen the death threats and death wishes over the last several hours. Leftists across social media are making their wish list of who they'd like to see assassinated next. I've seen my name on the list.
Oh my God.
Benz is on it. Many other names. I do think the chances of a copycat event are very high. I do. And that's why I feel that it's important for me to say that I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to hide. None of us will. None of us. Because if we back down, then the demons who killed Charlie will win, and they cannot win. They will not win.
Demons, huh?
The day before his death, Charlie posted a picture of Irina, the young woman who was killed on the light rail in Charlotte. And he added a short caption, "America will never be the same," he wrote. Amen. You had no idea how right you were, my friend. America will never be the same. It will be better. Thanks in large part to your work, your legacy, your example, America will ultimately be a better place, but there's a lot more to be done in the meantime. The fight continues. You finished your race, Charlie. You fought the good fight. You kept the faith. And now we'll take it from here.
Okay.
And we won't give up until the work is done.
Wow.
And you can rest in peace knowing that. Godspeed.
When you say without even knowing who the shooter is, how is that not cope? What could be an alternative? Bro, Trump is the least popular president in all of U.S. history. He has a sycophantic cult obsession with MAGA, but everybody else fucking hates him. Grippers hate him. Never Trumpers fucking hate him. There's a lot of different groups and people on the left that also hate him. Like, who knows? It's like, if I had to put money on it, my guess is the shooter is probably left-leaning. But I don't even know. It would almost be 50-50. I feel like left-leaning attacks or whatever are always like cringe, like BLM shooting cops and walking up and shit. Could also just be a fucking lunatic as well. Some like fucking crazy guy who wants to make, huge waves in the country.
Charlie Kirk. Death is going to do more damage in this country than his life did. What a bummer. Matt Walsh had a responsibility here to try and stem this down, like many of the people in the left. Governor Newsom came out and tried to stem it down. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right. What? All right. Well, I don't know what. So what is this?
This way, but the reality is there are like 4 different worlds that we can live in, and it relates to like this concept of like a prisoner's dilemma. It's a paradoxical setup kind of where there is a positive outcome for 2 different players. However, both players basically become incentivized using logic to take the worst outcome, basically, for collectively. You have 2 different people who are caught, and the 2 people who are caught are being interrogated by the police. And then the question is do you cooperate with the police and rat out your friend? Or do you not cooperate with the police? I shouldn't be using cooperate. Or do you not work with the police and then you cooperate with your friend? That's supposed to be phrased, right? Okay, we'll say prisoner 1 cooperates and prisoner 2 cooperates, okay? If this happens, then we'll say that both people get sentenced to 1 year in jail, okay? This is what happens if both people cooperate with each other, not with the cops. They cooperate with each other, right? This is the cooperative thing. They cooperate with each other, and so what happens is they don't rat on each other, and the cops don't have enough evidence to lock them up for the more severe crimes, so then they both go to jail for 1 year. In another world, you have both of them betraying each other, and then both of them end up in jail for 3 years, okay? And then in one where you have 1 betrayal and 1 cooperator, the betrayer guy ends up in jail for 0 years, and the betrayed guy ends up in jail for, okay, something like this. Okay, I'm drawing this out, sorry. Okay, prisoner's dilemma, okay? If both people cooperate with each other and neither of them do any defecting from each other, they don't betray each other, both of them go to jail for 1 year, all right, if they cooperate. If both of them defect or betray each other, they both go to jail for 3 years, okay? The guy who cooperates with the police, the guy who works with the police and defects from his partner, he gets 0 years, and then the other guy gets 5 years. So when you first come to this model, I think, the kind of like, on a first glance, you might think like, okay, well, both of us should obviously cooperate, because if we both cooperate, then we both get 1 year in jail, which is decent. That's an okay outcome, right? But if you know that the other person is incentivized to cooperate and you're incentivized to cooperate, but you know that if you defect, he's going to go to jail for 0 years and you're going to jail for 5 years. Well, now you're in an awkward spot where he's incentivized to defect because it's going to be better for him, but it's going to be significant.
How is he making the prisoner's dilemma so complicated? I feel like that's what Destiny does. He's really good at a lot of things, but I feel like he feels the need to complicate things in an attempt to oversimplify them for his audience, because man, I'm in the DGG Discord, and brother, some of them break my heart, dude. That's all I'm gonna put out there. I remember one time I posted something in there, and a guy just like, I can't remember what his response was, but like I was like, bro, what the fuck, isn't this Destiny's Discord? Aren't we guys supposed to be the guys that like, you know, argue and articulate ourselves? Like, why the fuck are we like acting like Hassan right now?
Significantly worse for you. And so you're kind of in a situation where you should also defect. So you can kind of like deductively reason out that both of you basically have to defect against each other. And then that leads to both of you in jail for 3 years. This is obviously not a great outcome. So it's kind of like a weird way that when you look at these models where you can't enforce cooperation, I mean, there's a ton of like things that you can take from this on, you know, how do you enforce cooperation? You have to find ways to link, you know, causal effects, blah, 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 right?
Usually when someone makes something simple sound this complex, I'm sure it's a sure sign they don't understand it themselves. To some extent, I agree with you. If you are really good at knowing a thing through and through, it should be relatively simple to explain it. However, some ideas are very complex. And you got to remember that he's primarily speaking to Americans. Americans don't know how to read. Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen an American pick up a book unless it was outside of school. You know what I mean? Like, Americans are some of the most disappointing people on earth. Especially when it comes to politics. I think the biggest problem with politics right now isn't even really the divisive rhetoric or any of that shit. I think it's just that millennials entered it. Millennials are typically spoiled fucking children that, despite their age, act like fucking infants when they don't get their way. And then they don't have any concept of like right and wrong. I think millennials could be the biggest failures of, the physician said that you only know if you understand something when you have to teach it to someone else. That's a really good analogy, actually, which is a bummer because I have a hard time explaining things to people. So mayhap my understanding. Physicist, not my apologies. Was a doctor. What was I thinking? I feel like sometimes I lack the capability to explain what I'm trying to say. But I also understand that, like, typically my level of knowledge on things is probably just below surface level. You know what I mean? Like, I dig like one layer deeper. Like, there are people that can turn careers into these things that how they operate and the way they think, it's like, fuck, how did it get there? And especially so quickly. You know what I mean?
In my opinion, in U.S. politics, civility, okay? This is where we kind of want to be, all right? We want to be here where things are civil, all right? Meaning we're not killing each other or having a bad time and acting violence with each other. This would be like ideal. This is a good world, okay? Right now, at best, we're in this world, okay? Nobody wants to say this, but the problem is that this here is not the worst world. We're just pretending that it is, okay? The reason why it doesn't make sense for...
My job involves explaining complex topics to people. I know when I need to learn more when I struggle to explain it. It happened to me today with Kerberos authentication. Sounds like a smart concept. No way you're great at explaining things. Look, I'm a man that has a lot of self-doubt, so if you say so, I will take your word for it. But you've taught me lots of things. But I will say this, I do enjoy the attempting to explain things, and if I get it right, cool. I just know I scare some people away sometimes. Like when I was trying to explain why I'm not too hip with the word genocide, you know what I mean? Like I disagree with what's happening in Israel. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. But even one of our regular viewers hasn't been back around for a while, who is in the TTP and someone I care a lot about. But you know, I feel like I have many gaps in my capabilities.
Democrats to disavow over and over and over again. When Republicans won't do it is because there is a worse world for this. And the worst world is, I'll call it genocide, but I mean, you can put whatever you want here. Genocide, absolute violence, one-sided firing squad, whatever.
You are good at explaining even when you are wrong. Winky face. Not often, and only my opinion being different. Like I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. Maybe one day I'll fully believe it. Someone else said something similar yesterday, so I mean, look. Oh, managers in chat, guys. I got to be careful. Oh shit.
Execution. There is a worse world than this one here, and that worse world is one side enacting violence. And the problem.
Well, luckily for you, I don't know much, but you at least say things with a great amount of conviction, and that I totally believe you. I do say things with a lot of conviction, but sometimes I feel like I need to learn to modulate or regulate some of that conviction. I mean, I do think that when I'm approaching a topic that I'm shaky on, I typically try to say that. I try to. Sometimes I might come off a little more pig-headed than I wish to be, you know. And, you know, sometimes I just get worked up, man. Like I said, I've been debating, arguing with people for a long time. I've been involved in the culture war. I've lost jobs over this. I've seen bad shit happen. So sometimes it might be like a form of like a mini PTSD, you know what I mean? Especially when I hear things that like start hearkening back to like similar language. And I know where the logical conclusion to where that thought pattern goes to, or like where that argument is leading to, or I start getting a little worked up. Fuck, dude.
Problem is that the Republican rhetoric is pushing us in that direction, where the Republicans want to push us here, right? Where it's a Dem utter loss. And they do that by already trying to say that we are here, right? You've heard the Republicans say over and over again, it's all left-wing violence, it's all left-wing violence, it's all left-wing violence. And they do that.
I too have the curse of speaking with too much conviction. It was an issue when I was in a pub quiz team. As people took my guesses as meaning, I knew the answers. Oh man, dude. Conviction is a scary thing because I love conviction, and I think people should stand by their conviction and they should stand by their principles and stay consistent with it. But sometimes it feels like people can be like really passionate about a thing that they could just be utterly wrong on. It's rough. I try to fact check myself. Sometimes like when I'm bored, I'll go argue with AI and I'll tell it like, hey man, I'm coming at this from a leftist view. I need you to torch everything I'm saying with studies and facts. And then I'll go at it. And then sometimes I'll flip the script and I'll go in it and try to argue the right side. And then like on a trans issue, I'll try to argue both sides at two different times. I find that, one of the main reasons I subscribe is because I enjoy listening to people with passion for what they speak about, even if I disagree. It's always a good idea to listen to both sides. I agree 100%. Which is why I got to be careful, because I try my hardest not to fall into an echo chamber, because I've seen it happen. I've seen a lot, like, I know a lot of buddies. I don't want to name names or talk about things in a precise way. I want to leave it as vague as possible just because these are people's lives. I remember when Joe Rogan was blowing up with the intellectual dark web, I was giddy with it. You had people like Sam Harris, Russell Brand, not Tucker Carlson, what the fuck was his name? Jordan Peterson, Eric and Brett Weinstein. We had Dave Rubin. I love watching, although we agree on 99%, when you argue about it, makes me stop and think why I disagree. That is invaluable. Exactly, dude. But I remember watching these things and talking to my friends about it. And a lot of my friends didn't have any thoughts about it. They didn't care. A lot of the times they would just tell me, I don't know why you give a fuck about this shit, dude. And then, like, as I start seeing the intellectual dark web start, like, morphing into, like, and Ben Shapiro was in there as well. And I see it start morphing into, like, something different. And I start hearing them just, like, get congratulatory about their conversations and sucking their own dicks instead of, like, being critical anymore. And then instead of using, like, logic and reason and facts to, like, kind of, like, decipher information, I start seeing them use appeals to authority or just pure conspiracy, I started moving away from it because, well, this isn't why I was watching this shit. And then when I saw like Sam Harris go against the intellectual dark web, a thing he was a part of, I definitely knew something bad was happening in that area, and I slowly dialed back. But I remember I started dialing back, and when I was leaving those areas, I started seeing the very people that told me, why the fuck do I care, start entering them. So then in some small way, I feel like I pushed some people to like a form of radicalization that pushed them towards Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan. And then when they get in there and they start watching it after they've already gone wacky, and now it's 4 years later and I have conversations with these people and now they just quote me verbatim shit from Joe Rogan. And I'm like, bro, like I know people that are now doing mushroom trips because Joe Rogan talks about microdosing. I know people that went out and bought a cold plunge because Joe Rogan said so. I know people that now just stand on like the hill that, you know, the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry is entirely evil, and now they just purely stick with supplements. And it's like, what are you doing? I watched someone close to me fall into an echo chamber, very sad to witness, and it's almost impossible to pull them out. Yeah, echo chambers are fucking terrifying. And my biggest fear is that I fall into one now. It's the reason why I watch, because I watch a lot of Destiny, but I'll watch a lot of anti-Destiny stuff too. Like that's why I really like Loner Box, because Loner Box has similar messaging without a lot of the stuff that Destiny does as well. But I'll even sometimes go watch Walsh. I'll even go watch like Matt Christensen. Sadly, I have to leave. I hope you watch and upload a reaction to that interview with the Cambridge, not Oxford debate woman, as I'd love to see your thoughts on it. I will definitely get that done. It'll be coming. I'm 100% with Joe Rogan on that one. Sorry. It's okay. Look, me and Joe Rogan have disagreements. And I used to think Joe Rogan was a very intelligent person. And hell, to some degree, I still think he's a really good at talking with people and having conversations. But some of the stuff that he pushes now is just dangerous. Like the fact that he came out and was saying that, like, before we had any news on it, saying that, like, obviously the left is the one behind the shooting. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, dude. All right, man. Have yourself a wonderful day. Like I said, I will watch that for you and I'll get it out there. I'll take that $9 as a request. My justification now. Thank you, buddy. Have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll miss you, man. Thank you for stopping by. You've been here the last couple of days, and it's been fucking fantastic. I'll probably see you again Monday, but I'll probably be uploading some stuff. I might even be able to sneak that in sometime tonight and upload it. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Yeah, Joe Rogan did a lot of things right, man. He just did a lot of things that are a little, for the size of his audience, he did things a little too carelessly. And I do know that he comes out and he does come out and say things like, what's the word I'm looking for? That you shouldn't listen to him on these things, that he's just a person, that you should trust the experts. So, like, the fact that he does that is, you know, kudos to him there. But, I mean, he still has such a huge audience. And he almost single-handedly helped one of the, you know, Trump get in office. And now he's calling out some of the shit that Trump's doing, which is cool. I studied nutrition for years. So at least I had done my own research, not blind. I know, yeah. Look, I agree that the medical industry is bad. I agree that, like, the pharmaceutical industry does have an incentive to push certain things. I agree with all of those things. And I believe that it is somewhat, to some degree, a monopoly. Fully support that. But I just wish that people would apply that same level of scrutiny to the supplement companies that make a lot of money selling supplements to people. And many of these things haven't been federally tested by the FDA, or if they haven't been hitting certain thresholds for safety. There's nothing wrong with, like, going into a nutritious, healthy way or supplement way of life. Everyone can sit here and tell you that vitamins are good for you. But we shouldn't replace modern medicine with that as well. Like, even the medicine and the antibodies that he took when he got COVID were created and funded by, you know, the medical industry that he lashes out against. And he also has an incentive to do so. I mean, he sells supplements. He sells Alpha Brain. He's partnered with supplement companies. There's a lot of money that can be funneled to these things by having such a massive platform and using that platform to attack that industry while also participating in selling in the counter of that industry. There is financial gain for him to do so. I'm not saying that he's evil or anything like that. I would never make that claim over that. I do have moments where I think he does some evil shit, but it's just something to be aware of, that Joe Rogan does make a lot of fucking money from the supplements he sells and the supplements he pushes. It's just, you got to be careful. I'm not saying you followed him. If you've done your own research, obviously, you're way smarter than me on that particular topic. Yes, people need to do research. Too many people are so happy being sheep, never questioning anything. Exactly. Living on autopilot. Exactly. Not to say that, everyone who does what they're doing, what Joe Rogan says. It's just strange that when you see a person that wasn't that way before, and they start watching a content creator, and then start doing those exact things and advocating for those exact things, and like every single time that Joe Rogan makes a post about a particular thing or has a particular view, then when I go talk to some of these people, they have the same thought patterns and processes. And I'm like, hold on, where did you get this from? I've known you for fucking 10 plus years. I've never heard you say this before. Where the fuck? Because I know it was said on Joe Rogan. I watch him all the time. Because as much as I don't like him, he has his pulse and on the cultural zeitgeist, and whatever Joe Rogan says to some degree becomes some mini little law that affects millions of people. Despite the fact that he's been hit in the head so many times that I don't know if you could trust his entire opinion on a majority of topics. Watching him like fucking completely flounder over vaccines was terrifying. Anyway, all that to say, I don't even remember how we got here. I just ran my mouth for like 20 minutes. I just wish people would stop buying the rhetoric and start looking into things. Right now, if you were to look at the left, a majority of people on the left, a majority of them are calling for de-escalation. People on the right need to do the same thing.
That is a call to their own side that they need to respond with violence. So the reason why I'm not sympathetic to people saying we need to turn down the temperature, well, just because the other side isn't doing it doesn't mean we can't. No, fuck you. We're not in the worst world right now. This world, right, which is this part of the prisoner's dilemma box, this world is preferable right here to...
You're all good. Claire, I don't know if you know it. Did you see that I uploaded a video about Joe Rogan recently? Talking about some of these things? That's on the channel as well. If you're a big Joe Rogan fan, you may not want to watch it. That was kind of mean.
To this world. Or this world. And the one-sided calls for just us, we just need to disavow. No, I'm sorry. The president of the United States, without having any fucking idea at all who the actual shooter is, has already blamed one side. Okay? They've already blamed one side. I don't want to be in this world or this world. I would rather be in this world, as much as it sucks. It's not a good world to be in.
Oh, okay. I see what he's saying here. Due to the during the prisoner's dilemma, I see what he's saying. That if we let the right continue to do its thing without any mitigation whatsoever, we will be the ones that get taken out. Violence isn't the end of the scope. And that's true. Fuck.
Sucks. The best world would be this one. But in the prisoner's dilemma, one person can't get you here. Both players independently have to make decisions. And there is no virtue in making this decision over and over and over and over and over again, especially when it's not just you playing, but you're making decisions that impact your group as well. You can't constantly advocate for this world and pretend that you're being moral, because the other player has no incentive, because they're benefiting the whole time. This is what I say when I talk about like making fun of people who die and all of this stuff, is that it seems crass and it seems bad, but there's a reason why people dehumanize people. It's because it's effective for your political movement. It works. It does. There's a reason why people have done this historically and why they continue to do it, why the Republicans continue to do it. So in my mind, it is immoral to ask this or whatever when that's what Republicans are pushing us towards. Both sides have to be willing to come up here. Civility can't happen on one side.
Agreed.
If Dems don't back down, does a stalemate occur? No, you just stay here in the violence area. We need to demand civility from Republicans then. In my opinion, I think that Trump doing a unilateral call, or at least a both sides call for reducing rhetoric, not just on the Dems, but on both sides, I think that should be conditional of a government shutdown. I think that that's one of the demands that, and I think that's an easy demand, and it should be rhetorically popular with at least 60% of the country. Donald Trump should be able to come out and speak for at least 2 to 5 minutes and say that everybody needs to calm the fuck down. Not just Democrats, everybody. Without blaming Dems, without talking about Antifa, without talking about Joe Biden, everybody. Destiny, this is all in line with the tit-for-tat strategy suggested for prisoner's dilemma over multiple instances. Only cooperate with the betrayer if they come back to cooperation first. Sure, yeah. Yeah, because you can logic your way to the betrayal thing over and over again if the other person's never willing to cooperate. Because logically that is your best move. You can't cooperate while the other person defects over and over and over again. You can't do that.
See, this is what I'm talking about, bro. I never really fucking understood the prisoner's dilemma in such a degree. I just said that, like, obviously one side is doing it. Like, how the fuck are we supposed to sit here and continue to bend the knee to people when every time they're given the opportunity, they keep escalating it further and further? Like, what is their justification for doing some of the mean shit they did when they got in office? Democrats did it. You know what I mean? Like, what is their justification for Donald Trump writing fucking decrees and fucking whatever against, like, polling data, or the lawyers that were, like, suing him? Yeah, if Trump is incapable of fucking going before, a camera and saying that we need to cool the temperature here, then he is not the president. I would say he needs to be impeached. Like every other president in the history of presidents is always trying to cool down any kind of violent rhetoric propping up in the country. America is not supposed to be doing the shit. This belongs in, like, what we would call third world countries. This is bullshit. And it's bullshit that one side of the political spectrum always has to give. And that's why when people say it's, like, clearly, like, how do I say this? Like, both teams are the same. Like, right and the left are on similar. It's not true. It's just not true. It's unfair as fuck. And it's cool that a majority of Democrats still called out the violence, and yet I've yet to see many Republicans do the same thing. We just watched Matt Walsh. We just watched fucking Asmongold. Both of these people were advocating for escalating further violence. Asmongold made justifications for the violence to come. Matt Walsh did a direct call to violence, saying that we're going to pour this shit out. This is fucking absurd. What do we do? How much can, like, the left capitulate on this? Like, what do we need to start sacrificing members of the left? Do we need to go get an altar outside, put them on a cross and nail them to it and burn them to the ground in front of, like, the entire city? Like, what? Excuse me, what do we have to do? Like, why is the left always the one to pay the price politically? Like, Biden comes out, gives a speech, and in the speech, he clearly clarifies that a majority of Americans and a majority of people on the right are perfectly reasonable people. But then he says there are some on the right that are MAGA, that are, like, vile. Like, did he say anything to cool down the did he do or say anything to cool down the Teslas? People setting shit on fire in California, I think. Operation Human Shield. Yeah, dude. Did he say or do anything? I would even say that Trump did that one poorly. Trump did terrible shit with the Tesla things. Every time Trump talks about an issue about this, Al Franken was sacrificed for basically nothing. Exactly, dude. Like, we literally, like, let them impeach our president, Bill Clinton, who literally left us with a surplus when he left office. Like, dude, what did we do? Like, Donald Trump, even when dealing with the Tesla things, came out and called out the radical leftist. Like, and then he put Pam Bondi on it. And then he comes out when he talks about issues around, he just calls the Democrats evil. Like, what active president has ever done that? Like, I watched a TikTok. I have one saved on my phone where it shows every former presidential debate or a former president candidate that lost the election concede the election. The worst one we had was Al Gore. Al Gore came out and said, the Supreme Court has decided, and though I vehemently disagree with their decision, I will stand by their decision. And then we saw Hillary Clinton cave immediately. We saw Kamala Harris cave immediately. We saw every fucking like all the way down to Nixon or before. Every former president or potential president candidate came out and like immediately said, you know what? Hey, we lost. We're Americans. The people of our country have spoken. This man is our president. And we will get behind him until Donald Trump lost. That's the only time in like 100 years where we said it was rigged. The political divisiveness comes from the White House. What do we do when the person leading our country is only leading half of our country for a small sect of people? Al Gore, I mean. Oh yeah, he blamed the left. He should have kept that neutral just like this. Calm everyone down. Don't encourage more blame and hate. Exactly. That's not... A president's job is to be the president for all Americans. Not just the ones that voted for you. And then we're seeing massive political commentators on the right escalate further. It's getting unhinged. What do? All you can do is call it out and hope to God that the radical fucking nut jobs that watch them won't get a rifle and show up at your door. For those of you that are on the left, it may be time to arm up. I wouldn't say start marching streets and being insane. Trump wants violence to block elections. Especially since he influences not just your country, 100%. 100%. And when we saw Trump even joke about that, because he was talking about the Ukrainian guy, and he said, oh, if there's a war, there's not going to be an election. You know what I mean? Not understanding the difference between the Ukrainian Constitution and the American Constitution, because he's the dipshit that doesn't know how to read. He has to have things read to him. He doesn't even know what fucking EO is put on his desk. He has to ask someone, because he can't just pick it up and go, oh, this is what this one means. Someone has to read to him what the EO is, because he's so fucking brain dead. We hear all this chatter about fucking Biden's goddamn senility, and Trump is probably one of the most senile people I've ever fucking seen in my life. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. That's not helpful.
Do that is a losing strategy. It's a super mega losing strategy. It's worse than the violent one.
Bro.
Destiny, what about civil war? Does that live under violence and is acceptable? Yes, civil war, again, it sucks and it's not popular to say. Civil war is up here, okay? Civil war is not the worst outcome. This is the worst outcome. And I know it sucks and it feels bad to say it, but this outcome here is still preferable to the unilateral laying down of arms. Ask any group of people that have been genocided before. Because the problem is right now, this is a question I've asked, I think for years, is what is the line in the sand? And
I agree that Biden was losing it, 100%. The difference is I'm willing to be consistent on that. Biden was losing it. He was old. You know what I mean? He was having a hard time, and but that doesn't mean Trump isn't. You know what I mean? And more importantly, even if Biden was losing it, he still managed to pass really good legislation that helped a lot of people. So I mean, even if I had to choose between two senile fucks, I'm gonna pick the senile fuck that still passed legislation that helped my country. And then the president that came out and said something like, I'm a president for all Americans. It is time to cool down the temperature and stuff like that. I'll take that senile fuck over the one that's the senile fuck that comes out and says horrendous shit and tries to stoke civil war. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, they're both fucking losing it. They're both old as shit. I think we need to start having our presidents around 45 to 50. I don't think we should be putting 80-year-olds in the White House. It's a miracle that fuckers can even walk. We need to change the way that we do this. It's the reason why, even though as much as I love Bernie Sanders sometimes, I don't think that motherfucker should run. I think Gavin Newsom should probably run so far, or AOC, even though I disagree a lot with what AOC has to say. At the end of the day, she's a young thoughtful individual that can like capture the hearts and minds of the youth. Like Barack Obama was one of the most charismatic leaders we had in like 30 years. And you know why? Because he wasn't some old fuck that was barely clinging to life. Trump, I believe right now, is technically the oldest president we've ever had. I think he's technically older than Joe Biden was at the end of something like that. I don't remember. I could totally be wrong. I'm just shooting from the hip there. But someone told, I read somewhere that technically now Trump is going to be the oldest president in U.S. history. Which is like, come on, guys. Let's stop electing old fucks that don't know how to wipe their own ass as president. While we all put out propaganda to talk about how healthy and like peak fitness they're in. 79? Fuck, that's old as balls, dude. Also, I just recently found out that you guys have a minimum age for people who can be president. Yeah, dude. Like, isn't it like 35 or 45? Like, something like that? It's crazy. Trump is far worse mentally. I would agree with that. He was old but not suffering from dementia. He had bad night stutterings, and despite Trump said wild shit the same debate. 35. Okay, 35, that's what I thought. 35. I've heard that in school. Yeah, dude. Trump is clearly losing his mental faculties. I remember watching this during the presidential election. A woman came out while I was on stage and asked him a question. What are we going to do about childcare in America? And watching Donald Trump not be able to answer that question in any way, like Trump was trying to say that we're not going to have to worry about childcare because the tariffs are going to bring in so much money, it's not going to matter. But this dipshit couldn't even say that. It took him 2 minutes to go through a rambling answer where he was like, well, we got to look into it, and Ivanka and this we're really on it, and I really care about it, but like the money coming in, and it's like, what are you saying? Like, every once in a while Biden would make a gaffe over like some speech and fall over, but didn't even Donald Trump fall over trying to go up the fucking stairs to Air Force One? Like, oh, we're not even talking about Qatar and the fucking jet that he received. Like, fucking Christ, man.
Right now, I've never heard a Republican give one. I've never heard a conservative give one. And it doesn't seem like Trump has one. There are no breaks. I have not seen anything where Trump has been like, oh, maybe this one went a little bit too far. Maybe we went a little too far. I haven't seen it. I don't know what that line in the sand is.
He's never going to either, dude. The dude, if war breaks out, he can continue to stay in office. Biden still gave powerful speech after port. Yeah, dude. Biden still had moments of fucking dope clarity. I wonder if I can find that. People may not understand what I'm saying. Let me see if I can find it. Donald Trump child care. This is like a viral moment. Here we go.
President Trump, you
like, this is a real thing. This is a real thing, okay? Like, this was before he was elected. People elected this while complaining about Joe Biden's senility, okay?
talked about how the increase in the price of food, gas, and rent is hurting families. But the real cost that's breaking families' backs and preventing women from participating in the workforce is childcare. Childcare is now more expensive than rent for working families and is costing the economy more than $122 billion a year, making it one of the most urgent economic issues that is facing our country. In fact, the cost of childcare is outpacing the cost of inflation, with the majority of American families of young children spending more than 20% of their income on childcare. One thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common is that both parties talk a lot about what they're going to do to address the childcare crisis, but neither party has delivered meaningful change. If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would. Okay. So one thing to remember going into this, before you watch it, is this is a guy who speaks a great deal about Biden's inability to answer questions. And he says things now that he's in office that every EO that Biden ever signed should be null and void because he had to use auto pen when Trump used auto pen a majority of the time. And he doesn't even know how to read the fucking EOs that are put on his table, okay? Number two, here's a really good part. We live in an age in America where it's no longer the same as it used to be in our youth. Back in the day, a single parent working could afford a home. But prices are high enough now to where both people of the family need to work. And it's just almost impossible these days to effectively raise a child while both parents are working without getting some form of child care. So more and more parents, or more and more adults, or more wife and husbands are holding off on creating children or raising families until they're more financially secure. This question has so many different layers to it that needs to be answered in a very deep and insightful way. And to be fair, the Democrats rarely are able to answer this question either. We need to find a way to alleviate these situations because too many people are having to go to work because people aren't making enough money to afford a thing by themselves. So by having both parents and working constantly, they can't afford to have kids. They can't afford to take the time off to raise children. And more importantly, it puts off having more and more kids to come out. Sublime is no longer at the top of the charts either. Yeah. Look, we are having a crisis in the fact that we are not producing enough children to replace the workforce that those that are retiring. And by taking longer to get kids into the world, it's taking longer for them to grow up. And then some people eventually get aged out to where they can't have kids at all. Because eventually you get caught up in your career and dumb shit happens. And it's just a complicated thing. So we need clear, concise answers on this. And let's see what Donald Trump brings to the table, okay?
Do that, and we're sitting down. I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax.
So one, the consumer is going to end up paying the tariffs. So he's already wrong. Two, the reason why you impose tariffs is because it'll permit less people to buy things and protect private industry. So when he says it's not going to stop them from doing business, what the fuck is he talking about? That is by design the point of a tariff. So it would stop them from doing business because it would dramatically reduce the amount of sales that they're putting into the country. And it would equalize the price to be in conjunction with American-made goods because American workers need to be paid more. So one, he's already a fucking idiot. Two, I don't know how the fuck we got here and why it took him so long to say all of that shit. He still hasn't said anything. Three, how do you not understand what the point of a fucking tariff is? And four, why are you rambling so much? She asked you a concise question about what are you going to do about childcare. Now, Kamala Harris had on her platform to extend the child tax credit to give about another $6,000 to anyone with young kids. And $6,000 may not seem like the most money in the world, but that's definitely going to help something better than nothing at all. And more importantly, like, if you want to say that the tariffs are going to make us so rich that we'll be able to afford that, why don't you just say that? We're going to be so rich from tariffs that we will be able to afford childcare. Why is that so fucking hard? This guy's the president of the United fucking States now. What the fuck? I wouldn't say that was a concise question. Well, the question, she gave a bunch of factuals before the question. The factuals were not necessary to the question, but they were pointing out the importance of childcare. So the concise question was, what are you going to do for childcare specifically? That was the question. Everything leading up to that was just the factuals before that. The question was actually very concise. The information beforehand was just to inform listeners that how exorbitant the prices of childcare has gotten, and then there's ripple effects that can fall from that. It was a pretty concise question. There was just a lot of filler before that a lot of people just aren't aware of. Rump doesn't know how tariffs work.
But they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time.
Dude doesn't even know what a deficit is. This is crazy. A deficit doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing. It could be a positive thing, because that means there's active trading happening. Jesus Christ.
Coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on around.
Remember how that worked out with Elon Musk, where they literally did none of that, and then they created the big beautiful bill where they spent more money? So where's all this money coming in? Isn't the prices of everyday goods going up? So none of it makes sense. He's still not answering the fucking question.
Our country, because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about.
Okay, so what he just said was the 20% cost of the average median family that is trying to protect their children. Those numbers are small. Yeah, because Donald Trump doesn't know what the fuck he's ever talking about. He has to hit his dialogue tree. So everything that you throw his way, he's going to bring to his dialogue tree. That's why every time you ask him a question about the war in Ukraine or anything like that, he'll always say, it's Biden's war! Like, you know what I mean? Like, it always starts there. Because he's got to hit his dialogue tree. I think Trump just had an agenda to focus on, make sure people of the world knew he's serious about the tariffs. I agree. But you should be able to answer the questions that you're asked. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, he wanted to hit his dialogue tree. He was pushing tariffs. You know? And kudos to him. He's a master of that shit. Yeah, dude. He's pretty damn good at it.
About including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in.
What the plan is of what I just told you about. I have no idea what the plan is. I mean, I answered your question for you, but you were just wrong in your answer. Like, I'm just a dipshit that does music reactions on the internet, plays League of Legends for fun. Why is it that I can answer a question this lady threw out your way, and then I can even add on layers to that? You're supposed to be a fucking super genius, the art of the deal. This is the guy that says Biden was fucking completely useless because he had a bunch of misspeak, and here he is not able to answer a simple fucking question.
Trillions of dollars, and as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people, but we're going to take care. As
we cut U.S. aid and we allow people to start dying by preventable diseases in Africa. Good idea, buddy. Let's take care of the world. Dipshit.
Care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about
having soft power that positively affects the world is America first. You absolute moron. It gives us a way in without putting boots on the ground to assist other countries. And by having good, positive relationships with the world, it makes us safer. You know what I mean? Like, having exposure to other things de-radicalizes people typically. You know what I mean? Like, if you ever want to try and, like, de-radicalize a racist, you make them hang out with black people and make them realize, oh, black people aren't fucking monsters or bad people. They're just people. They're just people, man. But no, we cut off all of our fucking soft power. He doesn't even know the difference between mental asylum versus political asylum.
Make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you.
A failing nation? You mean the fastest recovering nation after COVID? The fastest recovering G7 nation, or G6? I think it's G7 nation. That was the envy of the world due to how quickly we recovered after the pandemic. A nation that could actually start single-handedly helping lift up other nations through the soft power again. That nation, or a failing nation? In what way? Well, because we had 12% inflation at one point. Oh, we had a fucking global pandemic, you absolute troglodyte. What the fuck? In what way? Yeah, I mean, unless you look at like a handful, like we have the most obese. What's up? We have the most obese population. You know what I mean? Like that's you could call that a failing nation. In one particular area, the amount of the people that, according to him, always, exactly. You also have, you could also, you know, throw out some fucking statistics about our fucking, our infrastructure, how it's like rated D universally, about how like the people that graduate our schools are not equipped to have even basic conversations or decipher fact from fiction. I mean, you know, but I mean, I wouldn't call us a failing nation. Like there have been numerous times where we showed the ingenuity of the American way. I would say that the biggest part of our failing nation is when we cut ties to all of our allies, and now we have our direct neighbors like Canada and Mexico second guessing how close they want to be to America. I bet you Canada and Mexico are wishing that like America would break off and drift away slightly down the way, so that like they wouldn't have to hear about how many people are immigrating to their. I mean, I'm pretty sure a bunch of people just wish America would drift away right now because of the insane policies this man put forward. That's true.
Very good question. Thank you.
A very good question that he didn't give an answer to until the very end, and his answer was bad. This is the guy that says Biden was inept and couldn't like be a president. Meanwhile, he did the Inflation Reduction Act. He passed the CHIPS Act. He unified a split Congress. He almost passed the legislation bill that was written by Langford, Senator for Langford, that was spearheaded by Trump. One of our biggest problems is people thinking he means any of the things that fall out of his mouth. I agree. Donald Trump wants power. You know, that's crazy. Okay, well, let's close that one.